Hello, in this video I will talk about my experience from New Age, from Ayahuasca, from Hypnosis, Reiki, Transcendental Meditation, many forms of New Age that I've done. Why I started doing them, what happened when I did them, and what it led me to. So it started with, I met a lady who was a friend of a friend who was visiting Los Angeles. Very nice woman, and she said she's a spiritual life coach. I don't really know what that was. She said, if you work with me, you're gonna start making more money, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna have less anxiety, you're gonna have better relationship, you're gonna attract all the things you want in your life. She was talking a lot about sort of the law of attraction, but a little more in depth. So we started working together, and I started, she was giving me homework, exercises to do, right things. And so we were doing like spiritual things, and it was having physical manifestations. Within really just a couple weeks of working with her, I got a phone call from a client who said he wanted me to sell a house for him. And the price of the house was $5 million, over $5 million, out of nowhere. And I said, is this connected to that? And she said, yeah. She says, when we get help from spirits, these spirits have power to make physical things happen. I said, wow. I said, that's great. That's incredible. I want to be very rich, and I want to have peace and joy, and I want to be happy. That led, the next thing I did was I took a course in Transcendental Meditation. They give you a mantra. It's a word that doesn't really mean anything. It's just a combination of kind of weird letters. But you have to repeat that for 20 minutes, twice a day. And they also tell you that word is secret, and you're not to share with anybody else. It's just for you. And so I did that, and again I experienced peace. I was calm. I said, wow, I didn't know how it works, but I just like, this works. This is great. The next thing, I started doing hypnosis, and that too, that also worked. It made me calm. My anxiety was down. I started doing yoga. And also, the more sort of like New Age things I did, the more I was being rewarded. Even people at work, my coworkers at the real estate company, they said, Samuel, why are you so successful? How are you getting these big clients, celebrities? You're selling $1 million homes. Why can't we do what you do? What is it that you do differently? What is your marketing strategy? And I didn't have one. I didn't have a marketing strategy. But I would tell them, I said, I get help from spirits. I said, I meditate, I do these things, and I would encourage people to get in touch with the spiritual realm and get help from them, because it was working for me. And I was, I sort of like generously would share that information. So that was my life. So what happened was, in 2015, my mother died of cancer. She was living in Sweden. My mother took her last breaths in my arms. It was very traumatic for me, because anyone who knows me knows that my mother and we were like this all our lives since childhood. I was her favorite child. I had higher allowance than my siblings, and you know, she really did spoil me. And I loved her very, very much. I remember as a kid I would pray. I said, God, and I was Muslim at the time. I would pray to Allah, and I said, please take my life before you take my mother's life, because I just couldn't imagine life without this woman. She was everything to me. So when my mother died, my world collapsed. Literally just collapsed. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. So from Sweden, I flew to Thailand. I was there for 3 weeks, and I meditated daily there. And I went to an astrologer, and it was just more of that new age. And I took a course in Reiki. I became a level 3 Reiki Master. It's the highest level. I flew back to Los Angeles. I was doing Reiki on myself. I was doing Reiki on people. And Reiki is very interesting because they teach you to do, I don't want to do these symbols, but you do a bunch of symbols in the air with your hand, and you say these words that don't mean anything. And I didn't know how it worked, but it worked. I would like see things, and I would just tell people things. They were like, how would you know these things? I said, the spirits are telling me. It's the Reiki. And so the next thing after Reiki was, oh yeah, so what I want to say is, after my mother died, I became very, very interested in what happens after death. And also I wanted to get in touch with my mother. So a friend of mine, he had some magic mushrooms, and I said, let me try them. So I did that. And at first it was, I don't know, kind of like, wow, what is this? Because I came into a different realm. I saw myself in past lives. I saw myself as like a 5-year-old running around in Germany in World War II, and someone helped me there. I saw myself as a Roman soldier. I saw myself as a fisherman, and with my family, the boat like sank and everyone died, but I survived, and that's why I have fear of water in this life. So everything was like affirming this Buddhist thinking of like past lives, we're just energy, you know, death is nothing. The physical body dies, but the soul is immortal, and it comes back, and maybe next time I come back as a tree, and next time that you are God and I'm God, and God is everywhere, and God is everything, and it's just about love. Just love everyone and accept everyone. The message sounded really beautiful, and I wanted to believe that, because I wanted to believe that my mother is going to come back, and I'm going to see her again, and she may be, she may be the tree that I'm holding on, and I don't know. It was so far so good. So far so good. I'm sort of enjoying this, but as it is with these spirits, see, these spirits are demons, and I will get into that a little bit later. So what they do is, initially, these experiences, they do produce an effect. Yes, you feel calmer when you meditate. You may make more money. And I mean, I think I was sort of chosen by these dark spirits. They rewarded me highly, highly. Not everyone gets rewarded as I did. They really gave me the best they had, because they knew that I would go out and promote spiritism and New Age, because after those experiences, I wanted to. I was about to write a book about New Age, and I was halfway through the book, and I also was about to make a documentary about ayahuasca and you know, living a life of like spiritual freedom, and you know, I was very passionate about it. I wanted to, at some point I wanted to move to Peru and just become a shaman myself, because I said this is the truth. We've been lied to all our lives, so that's what I wanted to do. Anyway, I want to also get into the ayahuasca part. So after the magic mushrooms, the next step, a friend of mine told me, he said, hey, there's something called ayahuasca. It is like, if you like, you know, spiritism, this is it. This is the like atomic bomb of spirituality. And they promote it as something that will cleanse you of all your childhood trauma, all hatred, all resistance, and you just go with the flow, and it's love, and you just, you know, I said, hey, that's great. On top of that, you come in contact with these spirits, and I said, this is great. So what I did was I called my niece. Her name was Vala, who lived in Sweden, who was struggling a lot with a drug addiction and suicide attempts. Her life was very traumatic, and I said, Vala, come to LA. There's something called ayahuasca, and it's supposed to help with so many things. I said, and she had just come out of her last rehab, and she says, okay, I have nothing to lose. So she flew to Los Angeles, and we are in my car driving to do this thing called ayahuasca. We had no idea what we are getting ourselves into. They told us to dress in white, so we were in completely white. We get into this big house, 2-story house, and there's a bunch of people there. Everybody's sitting in a big ring with a shaman, and there's all these symbols and feathers and crystal balls and tarot cards and books about angels. It was like, wow, it was impressive. And before the ceremony starts, they go around one by one in the ring, and everyone is to speak their intention. Why are you here? What would you want these spirits to help you with? And people would say all sorts of things. Some people said, oh, I want to get pregnant. People have difficulties with pregnancy, or I want to find the right person to marry, or I want to find my dream job. People came with different desires. And my intention, I said, I want to come in contact with my mother. I want to know, how is my mother doing? What's happening what happens after you die? And my niece, she said, her intention was, she said, I want to know the truth. And I remember thinking, that is such a vague thing she asked for. What is truth? But today, I'm very, very glad she asked for the truth. I'll get into that part later, because she received exactly that, the truth. So the ceremony starts. There's a lot of singing, a lot of rituals, it's very ceremonial. So they did this like burnt offerings. They burned grains and sent it to heaven. It was a lot of burning and smoke that would go up to heaven. A lot of bowing down to these spirits. And they call it Mother Ayahuasca, and you worship Mother Ayahuasca. It was sort of like very religious, and I didn't really understand it. Anyway, so the first ceremony starts, and within about half an hour, there is this clear, you cannot mistake it for anything else. There's a clear communication with these spirits, and they are telling me things. I hear it very clearly. I don't hear sound, but it's just a communication that you're aware of. Sometimes it's hard to explain. But basically, these spirits, they said, welcome. We're glad you're here. And you, Samuel, you are a child of light. And we have wonderful, big plans for you. Big plans for you. The things we're going to do for you is above and beyond what you could have ever imagined. But there's one problem. Your niece, Vala, she's a child of darkness, and we cannot help you as long as she's in your life. So you have to separate from her. That was what they told me. And I didn't really understand why, but they also told me, they said, in order for us to help you, you must do everything we tell you precisely as we tell you. You cannot question us. Even if we tell you things that you don't understand, you just have to do what we tell you. Otherwise, it will just delay the process. And that's why when they told me to get rid of Vala, I said, okay, I don't understand it, but there's spiritual things I don't understand. They see things differently than what we see. So after this ceremony, I told Vala, I said, Vala, these spirits are telling me I cannot have you in my life anymore. She was very sad, and she said, I've only loved you all my life. I've only been there for you. Why would you want to get rid of me? And I said, it's not me. I have to do what these spirits are telling me. And I continued to do ceremonies, and I did about 12 ayahuasca ceremonies. And in many of them, what looked like my dead mother showed up. And I was talking, communicating with this person that I thought was my dead mother. And she was telling me all sorts of things, and it was very emotional. I was crying, because I thought I came in contact with my mother. Now today, I know it was not my dead mother. Dead people are dead. They have no ability to communicate with us. It was a demon. These demons have ability to show up as dead people, because they know that's how they can win our trust. Because if I believe that I'm communicating with my mother and I know my mother loved me, then they have my trust. Whatever they tell me to do, I will do it, because I think this is my mother telling me those things. And again, initially the ayahuasca was amazing. I had peace, I had joy. I was making more and more money. I was getting bigger and bigger clients. I was showing houses above and beyond. I was showing a house that was, the price tag was $50 million. I'd never had that kind of clients, never. So to some extent, they were delivering. And again, that's why I wanted to make a documentary about the ayahuasca. I was about to write a book, and everything I did was glorifying these spirits. And I wanted the whole world to start doing ayahuasca and get help of these spirits. So everything was fine. And again, the only obstacle was my niece. She lives in Sweden, I live in Los Angeles. I was like, what is the big deal? So fast forward to the last ayahuasca ceremony we do. We are in Mount Shasta, and it was a small group. It was me, Bala, and by the way, I just have to say, because when I say my niece, people think a child. So my niece is an adult, she's not a child. So the last ayahuasca, it's me, it's Vala, it's a friend of ours, and it's the shaman. It's a small group, 4 people. The ceremony starts. And my niece started making some noise. I can tell that she's uncomfortable. She's having not a good experience. And the shaman goes over to her, and she started telling him, and the shaman uses a music instrument to call on these spirits. And my niece tells him, stop it, stop this instrument, but he will not stop. So my niece grabs the instrument from him, breaks it in two, and she starts beating the shaman with it. She runs to the bathroom, she turns all the lights on, and I am in a shock. I'm watching this, and while I'm seeing this happening, these demons are speaking words into my mind, and they're telling me, what is it that we told you? We told you she's a child of darkness. We told you she only is going to cause problems. And I was really afraid, and my niece's behavior only confirmed what these demons were telling me about her. So I decided right there, I said, that's it, this is the last time I will break all contact with her. I won't have anything to do with her. So the next day, we fly back to Los Angeles from Mount Shasta. My niece flies back to Sweden. We break contact. So I go back to do more ayahuasca. And I tell these spirits, I said, okay, I've done everything you told me. I got rid of her. She's not here anymore. Make me, deliver all the things you promised me. Deliver. But something had changed. They could not communicate with me the same way. They could not help me. Instead, my life was spiraling down and down and down. I got hit by a very, very severe depression. And the last ayahuasca ceremony I did, my blood pressure was over 207. I was rushed to the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. And I went almost completely blind. Everything was like, I couldn't see anything. And I was this close to dying. So I came out of the hospital and I don't understand what's going on. And the shaman is calling me, and he's really interested in knowing what's happening with my niece. He just was very interested in her, and I didn't understand. I said, I am the one who's paying you. I need help. Why are you asking about her? I said, but he was very interested, and he said in the 25 years he's done these ceremonies, he's never seen anything like this, ever. What had happened with my niece. So I am really in a bad shape, and I also go into rehab for 1 month to just get better. It did not help me at all. I come out of rehab, and I get in touch with my niece again in Sweden, and I say, how are you? What happened? And to my very surprise, she's doing very, very well. She's happy. She has overcome all her depression, all her addictions, all her rehab. She's a new person. And I said, what happened? So now she's going to tell me her experience of the ayahuasca. And please have an open mind, because I did not believe her either at first. It was too much to take in at first, but it is the truth. What I'm about to share with you, it is the truth, and it's the only truth there is. So my niece tells me that the Spirit of God came over her. Her hand was lifted, it touched her heart, and she felt a love above and beyond what cannot be, it cannot be described with human words. And she just knew that we have a God. And because God has created us, God has the ability to let us know that He is God when you are in His presence. And so she said, after coming back to Sweden, because we are born Muslims, the only God we know, the only God she knows is Allah. So she gets a Quran, she gets a head cover, she goes to a mosque every day because she wants to know this God who she felt His presence. So she's praying to Allah daily, reading the Quran, but no answer, nothing. She said, this is not the same. So she goes down on her knees and she's crying. She says, who are you? Who are you? She goes to sleep and Jesus Christ comes to her, dressed in white, standing by the door with open arms. And Jesus says, I am the truth and the way and the life, and I have already defeated darkness and evil. And her life is transformed. And remember in the ayahuasca intentions, when we would speak our intentions, she asked for the truth, and that's what she got, because Jesus is the truth. So anyway, she tells me all this. I don't believe her. I think she had a psychosis or something. But if someone has a psychosis, they are in a mental hospital, their life doesn't get in order, everything doesn't become perfect. So I was interested in what she had. Like, I wanted to be free of my misery and my depression, and I wanted to feel better. So I said, let me give Jesus a chance. So I started watching videos of Jesus on YouTube, and that's how it started. It was my niece's testimony, and then I started watching these YouTube clips. Now there's more details because I was also living a life of homosexuality, and I'm gonna take that part in another video. But all I'm gonna say is that I also accepted Jesus 2 years ago, and Jesus has freed me and given me complete victory over homosexuality. And this last 2 years have been the most wonderful, peaceful time of my life. The joy and the peace that comes with Jesus Christ surpasses all human understanding. We have a God, we have a Creator, He's our Father in heaven, and He is the only true living God. People say, well, you have your God, I have my God, all gods are the same. It's not. I was born as a Muslim. I prayed to Allah. I went to a mosque. Nothing happened. I went to New Age. I went to Buddhism. I worshipped Buddha. Nothing happened. I worshiped myself. I tried to be a god myself with my success in real estate and all my success in the world. That didn't work. So there's only one true living God, and Jesus is the truth. Now what also is true is that Satan is real and his demons are real, and they are working overtime to destroy every single of God's children. Every single one of us are created in the image of God, and God loves us so much, He gave us His only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. So I pray that you give Jesus a chance. You may be just like me, thinking religion is just, I didn't want anything to do with religion. I thought religion was just there to control people and suppress people. There was nothing good about religion. But this is not a religion, it's a relationship with our Father in heaven through Lord Jesus Christ. I also want to share, because you know, all this New Age, we live in a time where New Age is exploding everywhere. It's yoga and meditation and you know, finding you know, going in, finding the light in ourselves and all that stuff. And so in 2 Corinthians 11:14 it says, "No wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light." So remember, the Bible, every word, every single word in the Bible is truth. The Bible tells us that Satan will show up as an angel of light. So all this enlightenment movement, all this, it's satanic. Yoga and hypnosis and meditation and Reiki and you name it. It's all demon worship. And there's only one who can make us free, and that is Jesus Christ. In John 8:36 it says, "So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed." Thank you for watching, and God bless you.